something went terribly wrong for the club?
It's one of the darkest places that I've been to. When you've worked 28, 30 years and you literally see it burn down in front of you, and then suddenly you've lost everything.
You must have been in such a dark place.
Horrific. And then you've got everybody laughing at you in town. Insurance job. Yeah, so it was a really, really dark place. But
the people around you, did you see like a change in character in people? Like, did you realise who's real and who's not?
the only time you should ever look down on anyone is when you're helping them up. Well, I got a really big help up.
Well, your story just then is a prime example that you can come back from probably anything.
If you've got a roof over your head and you believe in yourself, you're going to do something. If this...
Ciaran, that's how we do it.
Rolling.
We are on. Ozzy, do you want to do the honours?
Yeah, sure. Yo, what's going on, people? This is episode 2 of Graft Kings podcast.
Shakalak.
We are here at MooMoo's at Kent's Hottest nightclub, and we're joined by the nightclub owner himself.
Ciaran O'Quigley. How you doing, man? You good?
Yeah, I'm good, boys. Thank you very much indeed for inviting me. I'm enjoying this.
Good.
My head's going to be going like that, like a tennis match. A bit like that, but apart from that, I'm fine.
Good.
And also, because I've got fat thighs, my jeans have rubbed together, so I didn't put my new jeans on. So I just don't want my cock hanging out. So I'll probably just put these thighs together.
We don't mind that.
Because that could be a different film.
You've got a good set of thighs. So
Yeah, they're good. They're good. Yeah.
What's your squat?
I'm big, but I'm bendy.
What's your squat? Do you squat?
Squat? Jesus Christ almighty, there's a word from before. Squat, Jesus. I suppose you guys are all gymming it and buffing it up and all that kind of stuff, aren't you?
We do our bit. We try our bit.
Well done, boys. Well done. Well, you could end up like me when you're a bit older. So
I hope so.
That's the incentive.
That's the plan.
That is the incentive. Yeah, that's the incentive.
So, Ciaran, you are the owner of this place. You're the owner of MooMoo's. You're the guy that's kindly let us use your club on a weekly basis. I'm a regular in this club, have been since my early teenage years. Not early, where I should have been here in illegal early, but I've been here since I've been allowed to, and this is my favourite club. And
we banned you for 3.5 years.
That's a true story.
We've only just let you back in.
Yeah, that's a
fact. Yeah, that's a fact.
I was joking, but I think
it weren't me. It weren't me. It was two.
It wasn't 3.5 years. It was a year and a half.
Year and a half. Was it?
Yeah, year and a half.
Well?
Yeah, year and a half after the big one.
Excuse me.
Are we here? Why?
That's hilarious.
It wasn't.
I was joking.
No, but it wasn't actually us. It was two other boys in our friendship group. But Molly had a conversation with us.
And why were you fighting? What was it all about? What were you arguing about?
We were fighting them. No, they were fighting each other. They're twins, and they fight, and they had a fight with each other. It wasn't even anyone fighting in the club. It was them two fighting each other in the club.
That's mental.
Yeah, they fight all the time. So then you banned them.
How are they now? Are they all right?
They fight all the time. It's just they're not aggressive people. They're two boys who.
Wow.
They're brothers. They live together. They do everything together. They're like closer than ever. But when they fight, they actually fight like their enemies.
They're not aggressive. They just fight once in a while. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Punch up between brothers, apparently.
I saw, this has got nothing to do with your story because I'm a bit like that, but I saw two hairy bears. Do you know hairy bears? You know, the gay guys in Soho, about 21, 22 stone. And I was thinking to myself, could you imagine if those two fell out, knocking shit out? Can you imagine?
I mean,
I paid to see it, I think.
I don't think you guys know.
You paid to see that, would you?
Do you not know about hairy bears?
No, I've never heard of it.
And if you're younger, under 18, they call them cubs. And they're usually portly people like me, and they're very, very hairy. And yeah, you'll see them around.
There's one over here now.
Yeah, man.
I was waiting for that one.
I'm sorry, bro.
Come with me to Soho. I'll show you around. It's
Sounds like a good night out.
Yeah, you'll see the bears. Anyway, sorry.
That's cool. It's cool.
I was just going mad.
It's let it free flow. It's fine. We no better person to have on the pod for the first. This is our second pod. You're the first guest we've had on the pod. And
so who was the first one then? If you've had
it was just internal. Just us introducing the pod.
Last week.
God, boys, this is really emotional.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
This
is great.
There's no better person to have on here than the actual club 100%. Owner himself.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
You've got a very interesting story. I fairly understand your story through your daughters and stuff. Like I said, I've grown up with your daughters through school.
You've been speaking to them.
Yeah, I've been speaking to them.
Move. Yeah.
And we'd like to dive in a bit about your story.
Dive in.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Anything goes. Yeah, just dive in.
Anything goes. Are you sure?
Don't worry about that.
Okay, let's go.
Don't you worry. Any questions that you want to ask, you feel free to ask.
I suppose it would be best to talk to start from your younger years, really. To be honest, just to understand how it's been up until now, how you've ended up like having this place. So,
oh my God,
in your own words, from like your younger years, like
so we know that you was born in Cyprus, right?
Correct.
Right. Okay.
Maria Merkitrinia, Nagabaskaritera, Ragosudus Antonia, Maria Merkitrinia.
Subtitles.
That means a large doner sheesh with chips and
Does
burger
it?
sauce.
Does it?
There's a song about it.
Cypriot.
Are you Cypriot?
No, he's not.
Turkish.
He's Turkish.
Turkish.
Are you Turkish?
Yeah.
Well, you fuckers invaded Cyprus.
I'm sorry.
Me as well, by the way.
Are you Turkish as well? Marhaba. But so 1974, you guys came into Cyprus, right? You invaded. I was living in Famagusta. We had to move out, so we had a house in the mountains in Troodos. But my dad, obviously, we're Irish. So the Turks and the Irish have a close connection.
Lovely.
So the Turkish soldiers used to be laying on the side of the road with their guns and that. And round where we live, my dad used to stop and give them banana sandwiches. Now, it was a lovely gesture, but these guys were used to hummus and falafel. They weren't used to fucking my dad's dodgy banana sandwiches. But they took it all the same. Anyway, yeah, but that was it. Oh, yeah.
You know.
That's crazy.
Mahaba.
Why was you in Cyprus? What was the?
Yeah, so we had a place in Cyprus, kind of like a bit of a restaurant business, so that was there. We were in Belfast before that. We got evacuated from Belfast because of the Troubles. We decided to leave because we were right in the height of the Troubles in 1974. I was born in 68. I'm 54
Sorry,
now.
what year is this we're talking?
So we're talking about, I was born in 68, but we left Cyprus after I was 2 years old and went to Belfast. And Belfast at that time, I mean, I don't know if you guys really know a bit of the history about the north of Ireland. I mean, it was a really contentious time, and where we were living in North Belfast really was tit for tat, kind of like murders going on. My mum was involved in a bomb blast.
Oh, wow.
Which decided that, in fact, it was really weird. So my dad got a shout out that a car was under rubble down in one of the streets, Ormer Road, round the corner. So my dad ran out of the house and started helping all of these guys take the rubble off, and found his wife in the car with his 3 kids in the back. And so I think after that was a close scare. So we decided, well, we've got to give Belfast a little bit of a miss. Great city, I love it, but it wasn't just the place to kind of like survive around those times. Very, very difficult. But anyway, yeah. So then after that, we went back to Cyprus again and had a great time. And then I moved to Scarborough in Yorkshire, which was a great place, and then went to the end of primary school there, and then secondary school there. Yeah, it was good.
Okay, cool. Well, why Maidstone? How did you end up here?
Well, that's a really good question. That's really weird. So I went to drama school in London, and so I left Scarborough when I was 16, came to London, did some television through drama school, and then decided that after I graduated on my 3-year drama kind of diploma, decided to go to Ibiza.
Oh, nice.
So I became an area manager for Club 8 and 30 Holidays. Now, I suppose you guys are a bit too young to be remembering 8
No, I remember them. When I first started going clubbing, you used to go to a travel agent, not clubbing, lads holidays. And they go, oh, we've got the 18 to 30s package, but that's non-existent. Well, I don't know if it exists anymore, but...
Well, funny enough, a guy from Maidstone, actually, well, his wife's from Maidstone. He worked with me, Scottish guy from Glasgow. He ended up buying Club 1830, and they only folded last year, believe it or not.
Oh, is it actually a place called 1830?
No, it was a company.
Oh,
no,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was a company, and so Club 1830 was fantastic. So when I ran Ibiza, you could come to Ibiza with your flights, bed and breakfast for £76.
Fucking hell.
Jesus Christ.
Including the hotel.
That'd get you about 4 bottles of water nowadays.
Yeah.
But the problem for us was that we had to get people on our trips. That's how we made money. Right. But you would get the likes of, well, you boys wanting to come out and club it and go to a cheap way of going to Amnesia or going to Pasha, and you wouldn't book our trips. So we would ignore you for the rest of the holiday and make it fucking difficult for you. The things that went on were just kind of like awful. So I was 18, 19 years old. I was running Ibiza, and then I kind of did mainland Spain, still running Ibiza as well. So I did that for about 3 or 4 years, and just, wow.
Partying? Oh.
It was everything, really. It was everything. Somebody said to me that when you become the rep here, you will see things that you have never, ever, ever we'll see you again.
Never been a
Do you
rep in
know what?
Ibiza, but I think I can
I
say
work-
that I've seen things in Ibiza that you'll never ever see anywhere else.
It's true. I worked there for 3 months back in 2014, and that was enough to see a lot of shit. Put it that way. Yeah, alone 4 years. So in 3 months, I was like done. I'm going home. So I was half the man I was before I went there.
So when we were there, I mean, I was in one of the videos, in fact, 2 of the videos. So I was in the Wham Club Tropicana that was done at Pikes, and that was filmed at Pikes. So I'm going,
what a
so,
gaff.
yeah, oh my god.
Decent
So I'm
was
going back to 88 here.
God, nice.
Better
What a time,
though.
yeah, what a time.
So that was the times when Ibiza was really kind of just changing. So the new romance era of Spandau Ballet and Wham was changing, and suddenly this kind of Balearic beat started happening. Do you know what I mean? So I was there at the opening of Amnesia in 88,
Wow.
which was just mental. And yeah, that was great. And in Ibiza, they did things differently that other people would ever do. So, if you didn't walk into Amnesia with a hard-on, you'd have it halfway through because they were putting poppers through the air conditioning fucking unit. So, you'd walk in there and just ask for a beer. You wouldn't be gay, but you just want to shag the bar. It was a bit mad. So yeah, Ibiza was incredible. So you had that side of it, and then we had looking after Club 1830, which was incredible. So you'd have youngsters first time on holiday, 17, 18, and we had to prepare ourselves, and I wasn't quite ready for it because I would have to deal with on average about 11 or 12 deaths throughout the summer, and that was really
Yeah, that's hard.
that was really, really hard to do, especially with one group of girls. God rest her, I'll never forget it. She was 17 years old, fancied me at the time, and I was DJing in a place called the Star Club, which is called Es Paradis now. I think.
Oh, nice.
Do you know? Do you know?
Yeah.
So I was DJing in there, and then she was waiting for me to, and I said, "Look," I said, "I'm not interested." Blah blah blah. Anyway, so she ended up getting off with a Spanish lad who took her back to Ibiza town, but put her on the moped, and she didn't have a helmet on,
no way,
and she
was an
fell off,
accident like
and
that.
he left her there.
Wow.
He left
Fucking
her,
hell, man.
and the Guardia Civil picked her up at 4:30 in the morning. She'd passed by then, and then so when I got back to my hotel at like 5:30 a.m., I've got the group of girls there, I've got our bosses there, and that was a really hard learning curve because you see a procedure then. So I'm only dealing with like holiday people who are having a really good time, and you're seeing a flip side to Ibiza, and then the processes of that have to happen with us getting in touch with the police in Birmingham. The police in Birmingham then have to go and knock on her door and bring the news to her mum, and then we have to get the belongings together. So there's different sides of Ibiza.
Yeah.
Sorry to bring everybody down,
No,
but
it's reality.
it was just life, and everything was going on. And then that's happening, and then people are coming in at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning. There's a group of girls mourning over there. There's us trying to ring the police, and then there's people coming in who are just partying away. And it was just mad. So deaths were really hard to deal with, but yeah, they taught you a lot. It was a massive learning curve. It was really, really good. So yeah, Ibiza in 88, 89 was a happening time.
Have you been back since?
Funny enough, yeah, I go back every year. I'm in a slightly more privileged position now. Sorry, San Antonio, but I avoid you like the fucking plague. I don't go near San Antonio, so we stay in Ibiza town. The only problem is I can't really get past 11 o'clock in the evening now, so I do things during the day, and then but we stay in the Ibiza town there. We're going back again this year, but it's such a beautiful island.
It is,
lovely.
It's
Yeah.
just stunning. And when you tell people that you're going, they say, "Oh yeah, the party island." It's just
There's a whole
more
other side
to
to
it.
it. Yeah,
there's a
whole
section
other
of it
side
that
to
is that.
But that's the thing, though. You go there usually for about 3 days or 5 days max. So in that space of time, you just want to go to every single club.
Yeah.
Like from a young person's perspective, anyway, that's
Yeah.
what you want to do. If you're living there, if you go for like a week or more, you can actually experience such a nice side of it. Formentera, Ibiza Town. There's so much nice places to actually see.
I mean, Formentera.
It's beautiful.
I mean,
Lovely, isn't it?
years ago, the chocolate bar Bounty, they filmed it in Formentera because they couldn't quite have the budget to go to the Caribbean. But you've got, crystal clear water,
Yeah.
white sand. It's
Beautiful.
stunning. The place is stunning. The only problem with Ibiza, which happens, and it's happened to Mykonos now, wherever you get the big kind of like billionaires going with their yachts, the prices just go
Change,
just
yeah.
go sky high. So Ibiza has sold its soul a little bit, in that way. But stunning island, love it.
It is beautiful. And just to go back slightly,
You're beautiful.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Make my head bigger than it already is.
Don't worry about it.
Amongst the 11 thefts, unfortunately one of them was the moped. What was that made up of? Was it a combination of things? Was it anything drug induced?
No, I think the guy on the bike, obviously, he had too much to drink. Here's a girl going on holiday, and she's at the back of the bike, and he just left her.
No, but
she's at the roadside.
No
said you
remorse
saw-
whatsoever, man.
Yeah,
That's
it's
awful.
brutal. But you said you saw about 11 or 12 deaths a year. What were they made up of?
Oh my gosh. Oh my God. This is weird. This is
Here we go.
really weird. So 5:30 in the morning, flight comes in from Newcastle, 11 guys staying at my place called the Hotel Galera, bang in the centre of Ibiza in San Antonio, and at 7:30 in the morning, one of them's dead. So they're on the top balcony, these guys, and they're all mates, and they are what we believe they were just having a bit of fun, and one slipped, right? And it wasn't very pretty. But the real weird thing about it was that the guys, the rest of the friends, continued the fucking holiday.
What?
It was mad. And so it ended up that it was actually two of them, like you talking about the twins. They started fucking hanging out with each other, having a fight. One of the brothers with his best friend punched the guy in the face who toppled over, but the rest of them remained quiet.
Wow.
So 2 days. So the day after, we're going on a trip to the to I don't know, barbecue land or wherever it is. We take them to the best barbecue. You bastards wouldn't have booked it. You'd have been going to Amnesia.
Music on.
Yeah. So we went there, and the next thing, they're all fucking on the dance floor, these guys.
That's crazy.
It's fucked, isn't it?
This is really, really weird. Anyway, something happened that when they got onto the flight, we got told that the police were waiting for them, the police in Newcastle, and arrested two of them. So something happened.
Yeah.
But the guys spent
They're not
2
real
weeks
friends.
on holiday.
That's
Yeah,
so
they're not
I
strange.
real
mean,
friends.
you'd be
That's
so
weird.
shocked and you'd be so traumatized.
That's it. Holiday's done, isn't it? That's it. Holiday's over.
Absolutely. Alcoholic poisoning, drug overdose, 2 drownings. Yeah.
Horrible.
It's-
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it was there. I mean, if you watch people here, not just necessarily in a nightclub, but when people are really
Hammered, yeah.
at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and
I've been here plenty of times.
and they're face planting concrete. I mean, just imagine Ibiza when they're
Yeah.
going till 6 or 7 o'clock
Was
in
that
the
not
morning.
enough to put you off? Is it like... 'cause obviously then you came back and obviously you transitioned into the clubbing game and obviously now we've got MooMoo. So,
No, because what it did do, it just taught me about life, and it gave me the best experience that I ever had, because then I was able to take that. Because when when I went to drama school, big boast here, I was the youngest person in the country ever to get into drama school. So I'd got in and I auditioned at 15 years old.
Oh, wow.
You had to be 18 to go, and that's when the drama teacher kind of like said to me at RADA, he said, go away. He said, we want you to tour, go and have a look at the world. And I thought, no, bollocks to that. So I joined the drama school called Mountview, great school. But I'd been there, and I'd been at stage school since I was 11 years old. So I needed, when I graduated from drama school, when I graduated, bloody hell, 60s, I was only 19, but I was in a class with guys that were 41.
Oh, wow.
That was 38, and so I needed to get away from drama school and see a bit of the world, and boy, did I do it. And then I took all of those experiences and I came back. So when I went to castings and I went back into drama, which I did, it kind of like, I had some great tools to work with,
Sure.
emotionally for what you have to do as being an actor, because I'd seen things that I'd never seen before. So working for Club 1830 was probably, apart from my children and my wife,
a good side mission.
the greatest thing that I ever did. It was just amazing to travel and see people.
So that was 88. So at what point did you leave Ibiza and come to Maidstone and say, this is what I'm going to do?
Yeah, well, I got into a bit of a problem in Ibiza as well, because when I left Club 1830, I was quite good at DJing. So a guy who ran a club in Ibiza wanted me to come over that summer and DJ for him, and I did. And it was very, very good. It was actually a nightclub called Sumum. I don't know if you know Sumum. It was round the bay of San Antonio. It was stunning. But then after that, I would then go to as Es Paradis. So I DJ'd there, and I got hooked because I've got quite an addictive personality. I got hooked into drugs.
Oh wow!
And it really kind of fucked me up a little bit. I was earning a fortune. And I had the best job in the world. And at the end of the season, I was in bits and tears and had to ring my mum in Belfast to pay for my £78 flight back to Belfast. And I probably earned the north of £40,000, £45,000
back then
as a
as
young
well.
kid.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
In Ibiza. But
Buy a house for that back then.
yeah, but it all kind of went up my nose. And I had a great time, actually. Imagine. When I did it. And you know, George Michael once said that cocaine is the greatest thing ever, and it's God's punishment for people who have got too much money. And cocaine is amazing, man. It's fucking brilliant. And I used to just love it. I loved it. But I loved it too much because the high was never big enough for me.
Yeah.
So you take it, and you guys might have a little bit of a sniff in your younger days or whatever you did, and then you could go back to it an hour and a half later, 2 hours later. I couldn't,
Constantly
because
around it.
the hit for me was 5 minutes, and then so naturally I tried heroin. Never injected it, but I used to smoked it.
Yeah.
Stopped at kind of an early stage before it. But I mean, oh my God, I was going out. I hope my mum doesn't watch this. I was going out and, doing 4 or 5 grams myself, 4 or 5 E's, but I was putting acid tabs into my eyeball because it went to my brain quicker. I mean, it was just that's how bad it was.
How old was you then?
I was 19, 20 years old.
Oh
19,
wow!
19, yeah.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I was just mixing with all of these kind of like, not high-end people. I thought they were high-end, but, restaurant owners from London, nightclub owners from London who were coming out to Ibiza having a good time. Some high rollers came into our club, and there'd be after parties, and people would go on partying for 4 or 5 days. And then, I just came to I think when you're kind of wallowing in your own shit in October and you've got to pick up the phone and ring your mother to try and pay for a 60, 70 quid flight back.
Bit of a reality check.
Yeah, proper.
Ooh, yeah, and so, I knocked it on the head. But sorry, when I went back and stayed with my mum, I opened a newspaper and it said, and in this day, it was a really big deal. So I'm going now, let's jump to 1992. So 1992, if you had a late license, nightclubs used to stay up until 2 o'clock in the morning, but getting a license was so difficult. It was really hard. So I saw this place in Maidstone, and I think it was called the Badger and Honeypot and Harriet's nightclub, which was here, and it said it's got a late license till 2 a.m. And I thought, wow, I wonder if I can do something. But I was living in Southampton at the time, and I thought, I've never been to Maidstone. Let's have a look and see what Maidstone's like. Well, fuck me. It was an eye-opener. So I rang my brother who flew in from Madrid, and I said, look, there's a business opportunity here, late license. He said, really? I said, yeah. And I saw this real pokey little pub at the front, and it had this nightclub at the back. And the nightclub was all right, For its day, it was kind of, it was okay. But it was full of army clientele, and members of the travelling community, and it was pretty rough. So we walked away and we thought, no, fuck that, we're not gonna do it. But I couldn't sleep that night or the next night. I wasn't on drugs by this stage, and I thought, I'm gonna give it a go. So we put in an offer, and it was accepted, and we moved to Maidstone in 1992, and we started I called it Quigley's first of all because that's my surname's O'Quigley, and we thought we'll do that. That's a real sure way of getting rid of any squaddy. Just stick an Irish flag up and call it O'Quigley's and play diddly dilly music, and they won't come in. So we did that, and then we started the nightclub, and the nightclub was called the Q Club, and so we went through this transitional period of struggling in Maidstone, probably for about 10 years. Maybe 15 years, and places like the Sauce Bar were doing really.
Sauce Bar was around in '92.
Yeah. He opened
wow.
I think he opened '94, and I think Strawberry Moons had opened the year before in '91.
Oh wow! Rest in peace, Strawberry Moons.
Bringing back some memories for us now.
So everybody was going there, and so we were the kind of. It's difficult to say, but. When a place from your hometown has a bad reputation, and this place had a really bad reputation, no matter what you do, I've seen it in Belfast, I've seen it in Ibiza, I've seen it in Scarborough, when you try and shake that bad reputation, it's hard to do because you boys always remember it as this particular place.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And you can have really talented people going in, doing a makeover, but it's still, you'll always remember it as blah, blah, blah.
Of course.
So we had a really, really tough time. So while you guys were going to Strawberry Moons, etc., and the Sauce Bar, you would never, ever have dreamed of coming to us. Although we were offering some good shit. Great DJs, all of that kind of thing, but the reputation was there. And it was amazing. It was the weirdest thing ever. So next door to the main MooMoo's building where we're sat here, it's an 18th century, stunning buildings, grade 2 listed. The hairdresser was there and she wanted to leave. Long, boring story short, we bought her out. And the cocktail bar that you see now where we have private parties, which is next door, was an old horse barn and hadn't been used since the 18th century. I thought, oh my God, this is amazing. So when we bought the front bar, we started to get really busy because we got a top interior designer from London to come in and do it. So they weren't effectively coming into what was called the Badger and Honey Pot and the London Tavern, which was in the 60s, again, really bad reputation. So people were coming into the front bar. We opened a cocktail bar, and then suddenly we broke a wall through there, and suddenly they opened up into the nightclub. So they weren't coming into this kind of bad reputation place. They were coming into somewhere new that was called MooMoo, which was next door. And then I kind of think we did all right after that.
Where did
we did all right.
Where did MooMoo's come from?
My daughter's called Molly, so
yeah, we know.
So we called her Molly Moo, and so we were with the designers at this stage who did the front bar for us. Cost us an absolute fucking arm and a leg. Again, I was putting their kind of like costs down on my credit card, on my poor mum, on her credit card.
Oh, really?
It's a big gamble. It's a big gamble.
Oh, Jesus, man. I never forget the opening of MooMoo's. I got a phone call. So it was opened at 7 o'clock in the evening, and I never forget that I got a phone call from my wife to say that the bailiffs had been round at the house. So the bailiffs were there, and my phone fucking got cut off. I didn't even have the money to pay for it. It was just bizarre. Anyway, where were we before that?
Where MooMoo's come from?
Oh, yeah. So anyway, we put all of this money into the designers. We were trying to think of a name, all these wanky, shitty names. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, Tinkerbells and all that kind of shit. and then suddenly I said, I'm going, because Molly was at St. Francis, and I said, I am going to pick up Molly Moo. They said, who, Molly what? I said, yeah, MooMoo. And we went, fuck me, that's the name.
Wow, I'd never, ever have guessed that.
MUMU. It also means vagina in German. That was a funny story. We didn't know that till we opened, and some German customers came in and had a great laugh about it. But yeah, so MooMoo's came out of that name, and I suppose when the front bar happened and it was called MooMoo's, people started to be a little bit more interested in us, and then suddenly we kind of we did really well.
Yeah, well,
I mean, to be fair, that's still how the club flows now. Like when we, like I said, we've been coming here for donkey's years, and Yo's older brother and that were coming here for donkey's years, and we always start off in that bar. Well, usually we start off in a cocktail bar, as the night goes on and as the night progresses, then everyone just gradually moves
up
into
in
the
here.
club. It's the same
And
route.
do you know what's great about? Well, I'm going to promote it as well, but I'm being honest. I think the great thing about this place is, or the nice thing about it that people have told us about, it's a bit of an institution in Maidstone now because it has been going. I mean, it's arguably one of the oldest clubs in Kent now because lots of them fall by the wayside, as we know. But the thing about it is there are different generations here because there are so many things going on. So up in the cabaret, for example, which you boys have seen, you saw it when you were
the older
vetting
crowd
around there.
upstairs.
Yeah, you've got that, but you've got 3 generations of family. So you can have your nan who's 80 or 90, and then you know it's just beautiful to see. And then they're on the dance floor, and then sometimes they come down here. So it's not too serious where we get all the good-looking boys like you. We get a mixture. We get people like me coming in, and so it's diverse, MooMoos. But I have to say, the one thing that I think keeps it going really is just, I mean, I met my wife here, and I've been happily married now for 30 years, and she's beautiful, my wife, really beautiful looking.
You met your
beautiful
wife
soul.
at MooMoo's?
Yeah. I banned her because she tried to set fire to the canopy. Because I mean, she's not rough, by the way. She's classy. But yeah, back then when you guys were all going elsewhere, I had a rule that I wouldn't let anybody in with jeans, and she had jeans in, so I turned her away. I mean, here there's this beautiful goddess, and I'm turning her away. I was a stubborn bastard, and she decided to set light to my pride and joy, which was my plastic canopy that went all the way down, and she set a light to that. So and then we. Yeah,
Look at that red flag. Mine. My red flag.
I love an arsonist. We got together. But sorry, what I'm leading on to. And my friend Simon, God rest him, he's passed now, but he used to come here and he travelled all over the world. He had never seen so many beautiful women under one roof.
Why do you think we come here every weekend?
Maidstone, and guys as well, and I'm not that way, but you've got beautiful looking guys, and you've got these women who just look like they've come off a catwalk, and they choose to come to us. And I think because we did a percentage the other day of our clientele, we are 74% female.
Wow.
And that's big.
This weekend,
Yeah,
what are we
big,
doing, lads?
yeah.
Seriously, you've sold it, mate. I am
True,
here.
though, everyone dresses up. And when we see you the other week, though, we were talking about MooMoo's, how long we've been coming in. We said to you the other week, didn't we, that it's surprising now, though, that the era has changed massively from the youngsters today. From when we first started coming here, we had to wear shoes and Chelsea boots, whereas now if you're wearing, obviously still got to be really smart wearing when you come to MooMoo's, you dress to impress when you come, but like people get away with wearing really smart trainers now. We said, and I said to you, why, Ciaran? You was like, because we have to.
We have to. It's that trainer rule. And then suddenly, I don't know who it was, Jay-Z or somebody or whatever, started this trainer range and sticking them out at 300, 400 quid. And next thing you know, a whole load of younger generation.
Kanye.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Was it him? He started it. So they've got these expensive trainers. And then we still maintained our no trainer rule, but we would have so many people ringing up saying, come on, man, I've got £500 in my pocket, I've got 20 quid in my pocket, whatever, and we want to spend it in your bar, but you're turning us away in these kind of really smart. So it's a generation kind of thing.
It is.
In my day, you would dress up, women would dress up, men would dress up. I mean, I remember you couldn't get into a nightclub if you didn't have a tie.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
I used to wear ties as well, like a little suit nearly, mate, a three-piece, after work.
When we first opened here, I sent somebody out to go and buy 30 ties to keep them in the clothing.
Oh, wow.
Kids people as they come in. Yeah.
Sell it for
So-
I'll say the girls, to be fair, all the girls that come here always look 10 out of 10.
Oh, yeah, the girls
dress
hot,
up.
man. Girls
all the
always
time.
nice heels,
Always
nice
when they come
dresses.
to
Yeah.
MooMoo's.
The drinks help as well, I take it,
Yeah.
Under the influence, a 4 is looking like a straight 8.
That's it. But
You're terrible.
I heard, correct me if I'm wrong, that before MooMoo's there was another place called Valentino's.
Yeah, we bought that. Yeah, that was a restaurant. Used to be an old mortuary in Marsham Street.
Okay.
The guy who owned the Sauce Bar, Steve Moore, his family had that, and we turned that into an Italian restaurant in Marsham Street, and we were doing well.
Yeah.
We were doing well.
So that was before MooMoo's, right? Or
The same time.
coincide. Okay.
Yeah, almost 2 years later.
Okay.
And we were doing really, really well. You know Marsham Street, do you?
Is
I
it
don't, I don't
Maidstone?
actually know off the top of my head, no.
No.
It's in Maidstone, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
beautiful street just off the high street. It's
Okay.
stunning. It's beautiful, beautiful. It looks like a real street that you'd see in Highgate or Hampstead. It's beautiful.
Nice.
And so we decided to take an Italian restaurant on there, had 2 years out of it and did really well. And then suddenly Earl Street opened.
Earl Street's the one with all the recruitment companies on it, isn't
Yeah,
it?
And all the restaurants.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so, all
Oh yeah,
the-
so Pudding Lane's the recruitment, and then goes parallel
Earl
to it.
Street is the
Yeah,
is the
restaurants.
it's almost like, dare I say it, although we're not there, it's the jewel in the crown for the restaurants. So the chains would all go there,
Yeah.
Pizza Express,
Yeah, so
Nando's,
Zzz's.
Pretzos, everything.
It's a
that
lovely
you-
little road, though. It's a lovely little road.
Yeah, so everything that you have to cut open with a bag, that's where you would go and eat that kind of basic. I'm not very good with chains. I know why chains exist. If you're in Stockport or somewhere and you're not sure how a Valentino's is going to look, you're probably going to stay. You're going to stay safe, aren't you?
Yeah.
You go, Wagamama's, I know all about that, or I'm going to do that. So I understand why they exist. I just think they're soulless now. They're completely soulless. But I'm diversing. That's
No,
it.
that's
That's
all right.
it.
That's
Another
good.
story.
No, yeah,
But yeah, Marsham Street. Yeah, so we lost out then really, and we sold it. We sold it to a teacher, and she just had this dream of being a restaurateur. This is fantastic. I'm going to sit at the end of the bar and drink my champagne. Whoa,
That's not what
These
it's
two
like.
boys here own restaurants, and they
It's
can
not
tell you
what
the
it's like at
reality of
all.
it.
Oh my God.
That's completely what I thought it was going to be like. I've got a nice little Spanish tapas restaurant in Chingford, and I thought, okay, going into it, it's going to be all nice. I'm just going to sit, eat my tapas, have some Rioja wine. It's not like that. I think it's one of the hardest industries you can actually get into. Dealing with it's a people-reliant business. So if the chef isn't there, if your waitress isn't there, the waiters, then it's not going to run. It's like if your chef doesn't come in or your waiter doesn't come in, this arm stops working. This one's going to work harder, right? It's completely difficult. Like when your chef calls in sick, you've got like 50 people coming. Like, what do? You just have to get on with it, but it's difficult.
You're right. The thing for me is, so when I go to do acting jobs, I'm reliant on myself. And that's fantastic. When MooMoo's runs, we have over 90 members of staff here. So I am
90?
Yeah, 92 or something. I am totally reliant on every single one of those members of staff to be on their A game, to make people have a nice time. And chefs are very important. And chefs are. There's a big shortage.
Massive shortage.
There's a big shortage in the country of chefs. And what they should be doing now, the government, is they should be opening it up to the Philippines and Indonesia and India, where we can go and get that kind of workforce here to try and prop up the service industry. Ramsay said it. Hate the guy. Gordon Ramsay said it pre-Brexit. He said, if Brexit happens, he said, I promise you that the service industry will start to collapse and London will see it first. Well, take a walk around London now and have a look at restaurants now open 3 days a week.
Yeah, that's right.
Not
yeah,
7 days a week.
Yeah, I've seen that a few times,
And
yeah.
they say, due to maintenance problems. It's due to staff shortages because everyone is buggered off.
Very true.
And we are a lazy nation. I'm Irish, but I class the British and the Irish probably as a bit of a lazy nation as far as this industry is concerned, whereas the French take it a bit more seriously, and the Greeks and the Spanish and the Italians, etc. And that's what happened. The Eastern Europeans who were propping up the industry, they left, and it collapsed. And that's where we are now. It's
on the head, I think.
It's a really tough thing, but chefs are really, really difficult because think about it. You're a good cook.
My dad's a chef, so I'm a really good cook.
Well, there you go. So I would imagine if you have a party at home, you're probably a good cook and you can do a table about 6 people, 7 or 8 people. I mean, some of these chefs here, when you think about it, well, I'll give you, this is a bit mad. So on a Saturday, including brunches, we are serving up to 690, 700 is the average of people that we're cooking for. That's a lot. So on
Did you say on one night, on Saturday?
Yeah, on Saturday, we do about 700 diners. Now, think about it. Think a restaurant would only probably normally be able to do 100 people, and you'd be lucky at that. Then you've got to turn the tables over. So on a Saturday, it's just mad because we've got lots of different divisions. But sometimes those chefs, so the ones upstairs, they have to do the starters, they have to do the main courses, and they have to do the desserts. So let's say upstairs is 150, they have to do 450 dishes in an hour and a half.
Crazy.
How many chefs we talking?
We're talking about 3 or 4.
3 or 4?
Yeah, only 2 are sober. The other 2 are absolutely smashed. And so that is a real hard challenge. And that's why, this is what I'm leading on to, that's why they are misfits. Yeah, I'm a misfit. To give up, which I did with my children, to give up in this industry your life for a Friday and Saturday night to serve you lot, it's a difficult thing to do.
It's a big sacrifice, yeah.
So most chefs are alcoholics. A big percentage of them are probably still drug addicts.
Massively, yeah.
And it's a difficult industry. It really, really is a difficult industry. And customers have become difficult as well, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine.
They're really difficult. You know, we thought we'd get it a little bit easier coming back from COVID and a fire and all those kind of things. But no, I mean, they want their ounce of
That's how they
flesh.
deal with the industry.
Speaking of which, obviously, we know something went terribly wrong for the club a little while back,
2021.
right? Which
Yes.
was horrendous when we all found out, right? But obviously, one of the main reasons behind this pod as well is that we consistently and constantly want to try and inspire people to get themselves through tough times and figure out ways to get themselves out of bed in the morning and just keep going. So during such a shit time like that, during COVID, then the fucking fire in the club, what did you do? Obviously, I mean, MooMoo's has bounced back now incredibly. We was all here for opening night, etc. Like,
Thank you.
what did you, of course, I was about saying, it was an amazing night. What do you do, Ciaran, individually, and I suppose especially having 90 members of staff under your belt, to one, keep your own morale going, and two, look after so many people and keep their morale going as well?
Yeah. You'd have to. Yeah, it's one of the darkest places that I've been to, and even when I was doing drugs and Ibiza and all that kind of thing, suicide was a really good option for me at that time.
Oh wow!
And it was a really dark place. I had my health, thank God, but you don't think about that at the time. But
No, sure.
When you've worked 28, 30 years and you literally see it burn down in front of you, that's pretty tough. And then you know what's coming. So we've gone from taking X amount of money and having a nice
Life.
an easy life, and then suddenly you've lost everything. You've lost more or less your reputation. You've lost your goodwill that you had on the place. You've lost everything. And you have to come back to a burning building that's kind of like the flames have gone out now, and it's just a shell. The roof's collapsed. It's just in a really, really bad state. So everyone's telling me it's 2 years before you'll even get this place up and running. Then the insurance company come in, and then your staff. So you've got 90 members of staff who've been so loyal to you. What happens with your 90 members of staff then? What do? Because they have to pay their mortgage. They have to pay. They have to pay all of those things. So you're trying to contemplate what's just happened. You're trying to work it through. You then have somebody then telling you, well, I have to leave, and I have to leave, and then suddenly there's just me again. Literally every single member of staff have left me. And do you know what? This is amazing. It's an amazing story. So just talking about the staff, and I've been quite good with them throughout the years, and if they've got a problem and there's something that I'll help them out, and I'm quite lucky that I've had members of staff that have stayed with me for 10, 12, 14 years in this industry. Is quite good, because they turn over quite a lot. Do you know, bar about 3 or 4, now going deeply into this, if the staff at the time really wanted to fuck me over, I've kind of, through no fault of my own, I've broken their contract. The fact that I've had a fire, I can't employ them anymore. I can't. So these people are contracted to 50, 60 hours. Well, where's your 50, 60 hours, Mr. O'Quigley? Well, I've had a fire. Well, we don't give a fuck about the fire. What are you doing about Mr. A or Mr. B? All of my members of staff, and I helped them with some, they all farmed themselves out to other venues, knowing that on the premise that as soon as we reopened, they'd come back to me.
Wow.
And that's what happened. So they saved me there. So that gave me a bit of a boost. The general public gave me a massive boost. You know, I was seeing a psychotherapist. Just everything was just really, really bad. Here I was just on my own. I had my family, which is brilliant, but I don't have any members of staff now. I remember it was just incredible. Anyway, so I was told 2 years it would take to open it, and meantime I've got everybody dancing on my grave, which was a real I feel really bitter and angry about the other businesses, most of the other businesses in Maidstone, because they were dancing on my grave, and there was only, with the exception of 2 or 3 that will remain unnamed. Unnamed.
Yeah, sure.
They sent me all the best wishes and phone calls and all of that kind, and then the other ones were just straight into advertising mode, which I suppose is the nature of the beast. We're now doing bottomless brunches. We're now going to start trying to do cabaret, and then you can see all of your customers leaving you. So when you're in that problem, I'm trying to sort my own head out, and I'm doing that. But remember, because MooMoo's is so popular, we get bookings 6 months in advance. So we've got nearly £350,000 worth of advance bookings. So I have to get my ass into the office to start refunding all of these people. And then the general public can be really nasty. So, one woman said, I think the email was, "You're scum. You allowed this fire to happen. You've ruined my engagement party. Where am I supposed to get another venue now? I'm glad that your venue burnt down."
Wow.
All of these kind of things.
Fuck is wrong with people, man?
The real horrible part of human nature kicks in. But then you get a knock on the door, and a little old lady with her pram, probably late 80s, she pulls a £5 out of her purse. And she wants me to have the £5 to buy myself a drink because of what we've gone through. And you just think, wow. Then the emails start flooding through, people supporting you and stuff like that. So the 2 years time to get back, we reopened in 11 days, believe it or not.
I remember. I was here.
It was an 11-day turnaround. And we thought, it's never going to happen. And the cruel thing about it was, the real cruel thing about timing was that we had to go through lockdown.
Yeah, that's it.
I had to stand here to tell customers that they couldn't dance for a long period of time because it was that you can't move and you can't dance.
Yeah.
When the fire took hold, we were 7 days away from release day.
Wow.
11 days. 11 days away from release day, when the government said you can. So everybody's advertising, the whole country's going to go wild. And I thought, I'm not going to miss out on that. I'm not going to miss out on that. So we worked around the clock. Thank God, my members of staff that we couldn't employ then, 80 or 90 of them, they came back and helped us get it all cleaned up. We shouldn't have opened.
I remember on the day we were talking to Mole, and Mole was saying, like, the day before, and on the day you were still decorating.
Oh my God, we were pulling wallpaper out. I was going home. The smell of burning was still on me. It was on me.
You can actually, when we come in, you can
it was
smell
on my
it.
customers. Customers were leaving and they smelled, and I thought, God, Jesus, that's great that the customers are coming. But just the fact that we could get it out into the Kent Messenger that MooMoo's is going to be open on the day that the whole country is opening up after a fire, people were going, this is mental.
Yeah.
This is mental. But yeah, people stuck with it, allowed us to do that. Thank you for your loyal support, guys, coming in and doing that. It was great, and then we gradually started to open again, and now everything's great. But yeah, it was a real tough time. Suicide was a big thought.
Even then, yeah.
Oh my God, yeah, big time. You forget everything. Do you know what? When you think, this is an awful thing to say, but when you think you've lost everything apart from my family, and then you think about, this is what my experience of when I was thinking about suicide. When you think about suicide, it was a really nice, warm feeling.
Right.
How dangerous is that, man?
Yeah,
That's a bold statement.
Well, it was a nice, warm feeling, because you think, or I thought at that time, that's the escape route.
Yeah.
That's the escape route to end the pain of how you... Because I can't even describe how you feel every morning.
You must have been in such a dark place.
Horrific. And then you've got everybody laughing at you in town. Insurance job. Everybody always says that after a fire. And so, so it was a really, really dark place. But things whilst you have your health, and whilst you can fight another day, the day will come that you can get back onto your feet again. You know, it's like that great expression, the only time you should ever look down on anyone is when you're helping them up. Well, I got a really big help up from the local people here in Maidstone. I got that buzz, and then I thought, right, okay, I go one way, death, or you pull yourself together and you put your big... In fact, my wife's brilliant. So my wife bought me positive pants. She bought me 6 pairs of positive pants.
Oh, bless her.
Yeah, and so I wore the positive pants because you leave home, you're in tears, you're shaking, you're crying, you're all of those things, and she's trying to tell you everything's going to be all right, and you have to walk through this door and you go, hi everybody, how you doing? Like, let's get on with this. We've got to do it, and we've got to crack on. But yeah, talking to people was good. Always talk to people if you're in trouble or you go to a dark place. That's really, really important.
You said you spoke to a psychiatrist, right? Which I think is quite brave, to be honest, because men are literally less likely to reach out for help, and men are more likely to actually commit suicide as well.
You must.
We act up like,
macho.
Yeah, exactly. Like we get angry, we fight. And women are more likely to keep it in because everyone has suicidal thoughts, but men are literally more likely to do that, which I think why they are taking their lives as well, because no one is talking about it. So I do think it's very brave that you've actually done that.
Yeah.
Well, I think what you guys are doing here to try and open things up to viewers who will be watching and people, you know, you have to talk about things. You have to get things off your chest, and it's all right to say that I'm broken. It's all right, you know. It's the old cliche: your foot, your hand, your arm, whatever. It's we can see it, but we can't see it about mental health. And you know, there's enough insecurities going on now at the moment. But you have to talk about it. You really do. And you know, as long as you've got your health and you're alive, everything is good, man. Yeah. Everything is good. You know, you can make your own destiny, whatever you want it to be. Without any help or with help, however it goes, whatever you want and you put your mind to, you can really do, and just be the best at whatever you want to do. So when you're down there on the floor, there's only one way up, and that's up. And you've got to get up.
I think you learn a lot when you're down there as well. I think some of the best like life lessons that I've probably come across have been where I've like been rock bottom and coming out of that and seeing the growth, and then when you kind of look at the growth that you've like personally experienced, that feeling itself is just like humbling.
Absolutely, it's really, really humbling. That's a good word, actually, humbling. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a humbling place to be, and so. But that's what life's about, isn't it?
100%.
It's a storm. Everything's a storm, and it will, whether it's good or bad. And again, I watched this. It was an amazing conversation between Tom Hanks and Robert De Niro, etc. And Tom Hanks said a really good thing, and he said, "I wish I'd known then what I know now. And whether it's good, whether it's bad, it will pass. If you're going through good times, enjoy it because it will pass. When you're going through bad times, just suck it up, stiff up a lip, and you sort of crack on because again, it will pass eventually."
Just time, isn't it? And I think a lot of young men and women, I think it's actually good for them to get knocked down, because the more you get knocked down, then all you got to do is just get back up, brush yourself off, you become more resilient, you become more tenacious, and you just kind of thrive towards what it is you want to achieve. And I think that is the part of life that teaches you the most. It is when you're down and you realise
you grow. That's when you grow the most.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Listen, 100%, and and I think, you know, there will be people listening to this who are maybe a little bit broken, and you know, you'll mend again. You'll mend again.
Can I just ask, like, when this was all happening, obviously you went through your worst times, let's just say mentally and financially. The people around you, did you see like a change in character in people? Like, did you realise who's real and who's not? Because I feel like that's when you would have. You
see the best and the worst of human nature. I mean, you really, really do. And I explained some of the examples of that. It's just a memory now that's just come back now. It's really strange. So the press were everywhere. It was 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30 in the morning. I'm in my fucking underpants and flip-flops and all that kind of thing because it happened at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. I'll never forget it. And so I'll never forget it. So I was there with my head in my hands, and the press were vultures. They had no respect for me or my family.
The press are awful.
They just wanted a story. They just wanted a story. And And then I got a phone call from my daughter, Chanel, because I've never missed an audition in my life. This is bonkers. This is going in my book. I'm writing a book, by the way, and this is probably going to be in chapter 4.
Do you want to plug it? What's the name of the book?
No, I haven't decided on a title yet. Oh yeah, no, I'll be back to you when we'll do another podcast. Yeah, so I've never missed a casting in my life. So my daughter rang me and she went, "Listen, I don't want to really bring this up, but you've got a casting with the casting director at 11:30 in the morning who's ringing you from LA." And I went, "Oh fuck!" So it was for the Crown.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was the Crown. It was a yeah.
And so the Rumpies wasn't that, but anyway, that's a different story.
So anyway, this is so it was really weird. So my place is burning down. I'm in kind of bits. I leave the fire. My daughter Chanel drops me off home. I have a shower. I get changed. And I put my podcast, my internet kind of thing on. What's it called? Zoom. And I'm with the casting director, and I have to remember the lines because I was playing a guy called Robert Keelne, who is the interior designer for Prince Charles and Camilla. So it was every kind of speaking like this, real Chelseaite, and it was all that kind of hippie kind of stuff. And it was really weird because you can't tell the casting director your place is burning down and you are just about to, top yourself. And you have to think, right, okay. Anyway, fucking lo and behold, I got the fucking job.
No way.
I couldn't believe it. I got the fucking job.
So you actually in the Crown?
Yeah. So when all of this was going on and we were trying to get ready within this 11 days, I was whisked off to somewhere in Hampshire at this stately home for 6-day shoot with your own driver and all that kind of thing. It sounds like that, but I was just in no
head's
state.
not in the
My
was not in the game.
God, I was just all the actors were together and I was just in a corner like this. And I said to my wife, I said, you got to come and get me. I said, I've got to go. She said, you can't. You just got to do that job. You got to do that job. It's what you've always wanted to do. The Crown's prestigious, all of that kind of thing. I said, you got to come and help me. I said, I'm just in such a I couldn't speak to anyone. Oh, I was in a really bad way. But what a great gig. Yeah, so I got
What
the job.
episode? What series? What episode?
Season 5. Season 5.
Oh, the news one out just now.
Yeah. Robert Keelne. Yeah.
Wow.
Look it up,
Okay.
bitches. So that kept me going. And then, as I say, we you bounce back, don't you?
100, you got to.
And I got a new agent now because my agent retired. In fact, I've just gone up for something now with Ewan McGregor.
Nice.
It's a Russian political thing that's going to be an 8-parter for Netflix. I don't know how I've got on with that part. I'll find out probably shortly in the next couple of days. So life's good for me now again.
Yeah.
Good.
The
Good
business is back and back in business and life's good.
And I think your story just then is a prime example that you can come back from probably anything, and life's full of highs and lows. Would you have any advice for anyone going through a shit time right now? Like, what would your advice be for them?
They've just got to believe in themselves, man.
Yeah.
You've got to believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself and other people are knocking you and everything is negative, you've just got to have some faith, and you just know. I mean, I'm not even going to go down about health. I mean, this burning down, fuck me. I've had some. We've had some kind of scares within the family, and that's when life's bad.
Yeah.
When you've got to try and get over those things, but your building burning down, not really. You get another building, don't you?
Yeah, so true.
So if anything like that happens, as long as you've got your health, that is the main thing. And I know it's an old cliche that parents taught us right from the beginning. It really, really, really is true.
It's everything, isn't it?
If you've got a roof over your head and you believe in yourself, you're going to do something. If this all went again tomorrow, I'd pick myself up again and I'd have some dark days. But listen, I'm 54 years old. Somebody said to me the other day, "How do you feel being 54 years old?" And you're scared. I said, "It's a privilege." I said, "It's a real privilege."
Yeah, wow, that's a good.
I
I've never heard someone say that
I
before.
turned it around. I turned it around, and every year is a privilege that you learn and you grow.
So true, man.
Yeah, wow. Never heard that before.
It's amazing. So when you hear people dissing being 30 and dissing being 40 and all that kind of thing, you say, "My God, we're the lucky ones."
Yeah.
We really, really. That's amazing. Your eyebrow, you didn't have that done in Turkey. The eyebrow.
The eyebrows, no. I might have had a little bit of Botox,
It goes
though.
up.
Yeah,
See,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
brilliant. I love that. Sorry, I was getting a deep and meaningful, and your eyebrow distracted me. Yeah. So yeah. You can do anything in life. Yeah, it's great.
That's I love that. I love that. That is
That's a good message.
And the other thing is, which is really important to remember, my daughter Molly does eyebrows.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you need anything, she'll give you a bit of a discount. Although they're good. They're good
I
eyebrows.
appreciate that.
In fact, you've all got good eyebrows.
I do my own. Actually.
I've never had mine touched. I've never had mine touched. Thank you.
But they're good.
Mason's trying to hold on to the hair he's got. That's why.
That's fantastic. You look good. Yeah, you look good. And I haven't got any kind of like thick growth there. I mean, what about beard? Well, yeah, okay. You're showing off with your beard there. I get beard envy.
Beard envy.
But this is the thing, right? We come from like a Middle Eastern culture, like. Around there, everyone's just hairy, like even the women. So, do you know what I mean? Like we're born with this thick hair. If anything,
it's great.
Like if I was to put this down and show you my legs and all of that, you'd be like, "Oh, that bear that you were talking about, mate."
You could be that
one of the cubs.
You'd be a
I'm
cub.
one of the cubs.
Oh, they'd split you in half. But yeah, you know. The other thing is, this is again is the guy. I have 4 shaves a year. I'm afraid to say. So when I grow it like this, mine becomes kind of like pubic-like, if you like, and it's not very nice. Whereas you've got thick.
You know, you can get that done in Turkey now. You can get beards
Yeah,
done.
you can.
But where are they taking the hair from?
The back of
The
your head.
back side of your
sides
head,
of your
like
hair.
just round the
Yeah,
side.
we've had mates about it.
One of my friends had it done. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not going to bait him up, but
So
you know who you are.
Yeah, we know you. Looks good though.
Yeah.
You never know.
That's where
You
the
never know.
strongest part of your hair
Yeah,
is,
you
right?
never know.
What,
Yeah.
so he can get kind of like a.
He's got a full beard. He can have like a proper
Just like this.
solid beard
Just
like
like
that.
this.
And
Wow.
before that, I mean, he couldn't grow a beard at all, could he?
No.
And has he got a full head of hair?
Yeah, solid barnet. Yeah.
Because if you were going a bit thin there, you'd probably think, well, I want to reserve these bits at the top of my head rather
I think
than
you've
go
got
for the beard.
stupid amount of follicles here that you
No,
can
so
probably do
if you
both.
look at someone who's lost their hair, like they will have no hair here, but around the backside and the sides is where your thickest hair is. So essentially, they'll take it out from there, put incisions at the front of your hair or face, wherever it is, and just put them in individually, and then it just all falls out. Then it will start growing after like 4 months.
Yeah.
So it's a crazy process, but it does work.
It's good. It's good. And you've got good teeth.
Thank you. Mine's composite bonding. It's not shaved down like his.
Shaved
So
down.
mine is still my own, but they kind of build on top of it.
Really?
Yeah.
That
So-
shaving down is mad, isn't it?
Traumatic, man. It's traumatic, but
I mean, so if anything, God forbid,
yeah.
went wrong with your pearly whites and they're beautiful, if they took that, I mean, they would take that away and you'd just be left with stumps.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'd go back and get one remade, or you could even go to your dentist in England, and they're more than happy to do it most of the time. But like touch wood, I've been all right so far.
That's metal Merc.
But, yeah,
That's funny.
no one would have known if you hadn't said
That is funny. And I guess you do it because you want to do it. I mean, it's the main thing, but you want to feel a bit of confidence in
Yes,
yourself, and
exactly.
you kind of like, you know, you. But do you hate yourself a little bit because that's why you've had it done? What are you seeing in that? So I'll give you an example. I see some women who completely destroy their face, and if only they could see how naturally beautiful that they are.
100%.
Why are they looking in? What are they seeing when they look in the mirror?
Yeah.
But I don't think it is the mirror anymore. We were saying this last time, weren't we?
Yeah,
That
everyone
I
else.
think it's. I don't think it's no longer a case of them actually looking in the mirror and thinking, "I'm not happy with how I look." I actually almost think it's come to a point now where people are looking at what they see in social media and saying, "I have to
You're
have
comparing
that.
yourself,
I have to
right?
have that." Not. Oh, do you know what? I want to change my lips. I want to change my teeth, change my hair. They see their big long hair extensions and all. They think, "I need to have that. I need to have that."
I have never seen so many young kids now have problems with mental health. I've never ever seen it. And you know, if you look at girls, there are so many girls out there that have really bad eating disorders.
Yeah.
And the eating disorders are really kind of like severe. And if you talk to a therapist, she will tell you that her biggest battle is social media. Because you have, you've got, what's her name? Kim Kardashian, who's on this brand new watermelon diet for 2 weeks because she's got to lose 5.5 stone because she wants to get into this wedding dress for the gala in New York. And so the kids are going, do you know what? I'm going to eat watermelon. For 2 or 3 weeks,
It's
and
just not right, is it?
then they end up in hospital.
Yeah.
And so they are seeing through social media. I've got a friend on social media. Sadly, he took his life last year, but he kind of lived the life it looked like he was having a fantastic time on Facebook. So when you see Instagram and social media, don't always think that it's like that for people. It's not always like that. So if anybody's ever feeling insecure because you're not the best looking kid in the world or whatever, and you're looking at these good looking guys and they're having a great time and they're showing you this and that, they're in West Hollywood or they're in London or they're in MooMoo's, just don't always buy it. Just do not always buy it, because it's not reality.
It's a facade.
As if, like, if you're living like an average life now, it's deemed as unsuccessful. It's deemed as like you've not made it, because everyone's portraying themselves on socials, like whether it's going out, buying clothes, and obviously comparing yourself. What people do is they compare themselves and they think, well, I'm not good enough. I've not got this. I've not got that. But
exactly
like you
right.
said, it's tip of the iceberg. It's not all what it seems, and I think that's why there's a lot of mental health problems now, because everyone's comparing each other. Massive.
Yeah, and people cutting themselves, and it's a sad thing to see. But yeah, social media, I understand the importance of social media. It's just, I'm a bit old-fashioned, and I think I spoke to you guys maybe off camera about this maybe a couple of weeks ago, when we've had loads of people coming in here and they've got high profiles of, I don't know, 100,000 million followers or whatever, and they want a free booth and that. Yeah. Well, the single mum who's down the queue, who's been queuing up for 20 minutes, who's got 20 quid in her pocket, is as important to me as any of these kind of social media people.
Yeah, of course.
It really is. And even my daughters are saying to me, Dad, you're mad. There was a couple of people from The Only Way is Essex, and they wanted something here, and they were going to give me, a shout up in front of their 500,000 followers or whatever. I just didn't buy it. I wasn't into it. I'm still not into it. It's a bit dirty, but I understand social media is really important.
It is mad how they can use their numbers now as a status.
Yeah. It is. It's currency. It's now currency.
Yeah,
and it is a currency.
And yet, like you're saying, like, we know quite a few famous people and stuff, and they use that to get free meals. And fair play to you, like, absolutely.
Who's at fault though?
Right.
It's kind of a vicious circle, isn't it? They're enjoying the wares of what people are offering them. So we used to go to a really nice place in Turks and Caicos, beautiful island called Beaches, and you'd have to save up for 5 or 6 years I had to save up for 5 or 6 years if I wanted to go there. And then I see there the other day that Mark Wright was there with
Michelle Keegan.
because they said that they would do a photo shoot in the resort, which would then go to their, 1 million, 2 million. So they got the holiday free of charge. So it's that kind of thing. I suppose you get you get scouted out, and people say, look, please come.
And who's going to say no at the end of the day? It's a cycle you can't get out of, really, isn't it?
Exactly. And, I think that's what happens with the Hollywood.
The only problem is, though, is that when these, a lot of these famous people that are like that, they have got a bit of money. Do you know what I mean? They've definitely got money in the bank, because most of the time they're not spending it anyway, because they're getting stuff for free. But that then portrays the image to youngsters, either our age or a lot younger than us, that come here, go there, and now all these youngsters want to go to these top 5-star, 6-star places and spend all that money. You see people now. See people post on Instagram now, saying, anyone know where to go for good pics, anywhere good brunches for pics? I'm like, you're going to a restaurant or a place for a brunch just to get good pictures.
They're not living in the reality.
Rather than go to, we'll go to Dirty Martinis, which is 35 quid for a 2-hour brunch, and you'll have the best time.
Do you know
what I mean? Have a good time. And these people are going there just to get pictures.
A good time. They'll have a good time, not the best time.
No, sorry.
Best time is here at MooMoo's.
Yeah, come to MooMoo's for the best time.
Come on.
In Kent, Maidstone.
My nephew, who's 29, 30 years old, and he's quite an intelligent kid, Connor. He's fucking obsessed on the internet about this Oriental woman eating as many eggs as she can. So she's got boiled eggs. So she's got this noodle bowl, and they're just full of eggs. And he says, "Come and have a look at this, Ciaran. I'm fucking addicted. She posts these things every day, and she's eating eggs, and she's eating." I said, "What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you?" And it was pretty interesting, actually, because she'd done about 41 eggs in about... It was just a minute. She's just doing that now. But I said to him...
You'd be so ill. You'd be so fucking ill off the back of that.
Can you imagine a bit of wind? Ooh, terrible. Clear a room. But I said to him, it's not fucking real. She's editing it.
Yeah.
But it's not real. Watch the edit on this one. This will be well edited, this thing. But yeah, it's mad.
Just slightly going back to kind of what you've built, and you've kind of got like an empire here, I'd say. You've built your empire. What's the next step?
I'm taking a back seat now because of the experience that I had with the fire. Taught me that I missed all of my kids growing up because I was here till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And so I missed my kids growing up. I'm not going to do that now. I've got 2 little grandkids, so I'm going to be enjoying them.
You've got Molly's engineer as well.
Yeah. And so I'm going to be spending a little less time here, spending a little bit more time on my acting, which I really want to do. We are building out the back there. There's a brilliant warehouse. It's just fantastic. We've been sat on that for about 5 or 6 years, and we're going to build a pizzeria.
Yeah, I remember saying, yeah.
Proper pizzeria and cocktail bar. The cocktail bar is going to be like a 1920s kind of weird fucked up thing, where we're going to be having kind of like mixologists and kind of like, you know, the laboratory.
I love all
like
that.
Gatsby theme almost.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, so we're going to be doing something there, and then the pizzeria is going to. We're going to. I'm going to Naples to finish off a diploma in pizza making.
Nice.
We've got an old. I think the family have been in the business for 200 years, making these old kind of wood burning pizza ovens. So I'm going to go to the factory. We're having 2 pizza ovens being made. We're going to bring it back here, and we're going to knock out really good pizzas.
Lovely.
Really good pizza, but proper pizzas.
We'll
you
be
know,
there.
Wow.
if you,
Yeah, 100%.
We'll be here for the opening.
if you like pizza, and in fact, if you're ever in London, you have to go to a restaurant called Callo 50. So Callo 50 was nominated as the best pizzeria in the world in Naples. 2 years running, and it's just phenomenal. And they have opened up in London. Bit of anyway, it's near Trafalgar Square, so it's a bit kind of like in a touristy area, but it's Northumberland Avenue. But you'll see the queues of Italians going in there. That is proper pizza. It is amazing, and we want to bring
Made me hungry.
We want to bring that to Maidstone because people haven't got as much money as they have now. We want to do pizzas under 10 quid.
Nice.
And so people can afford to come out, and everybody loves pizza. So that's the next thing that we're going to do.
What's the timeline for that?
Probably about, we'd like to have it open in the next 12 months.
Oh, okay. Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah,
But
in
we'll be
in
there,
the-
make
in
sure
the-
of it.
Yeah, in the next 12 months.
Make sure there's some halal ones, otherwise Merc won't eat it.
Are you,
Don't listen
oh, I
to him.
see. Halal.
All he does is throw
He's
me
not-
under the bus.
He's
this
not
kid, I
allowed
swear
to eat
God.
it, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Very good. I don't. Are you two, you're not partners, I mean lovers or anything.
No.
I'm feeling a vibe from you
Couldn't
two.
think
It's
of
just
anything worse.
incredible.
We actually
I
hate
would
each
have had them
other.
wrapped around my little finger if it was, anyway.
Jesus, yeah, you two have got a vibe going on. It's
Can you feel
lovely
the
to see.
tension?
I think it's
It's,
love-hate.
it's lovely to see. Are you from Maidstone or are you?
I'm from, well, I was born in Kent. In,
Where are you live-
Kent's a big place, mate.
wait, is Maidstone in Kent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Tunbridge Wells is where I'm originally from.
Where are you living now?
In East Sussex.
Oh, are
So
you?
a bit further away.
This is a
from-
really mad group. East Sussex,
I'm like
Chingford.
East London, Essex, pretty much borderline. So like you
Wow.
probably know where Chigwell, Loughton, all of those areas is. So I'm not far from there.
Yeah, Chigwell's a really. I met somebody on holiday in Ibiza from Chigwell. In fact, yeah, and yeah, it's a really cool place.
Yeah, it's
apparently.
nice. You can get quite a few dickheads there now, anyway. But it's still a nice place considering.
You'd be
Probably
one of
ending
them.
up in that restaurant.
I was waiting
All
for
the
that.
clubs and everything's closed down there though. There was a lot of problems. So any
Is
club
that-
that there was, New Bar, Lux, Faces, they all closed down because there was a lot of like let's just say crime between young people. So it will just
Isn't it
closed down.
strange? We get,
So
although
it's nice that it's still running here, really.
yeah, and do you know what's really strange? We get lots of clientele from Essex
Do you?
coming here.
You must do, yeah.
So
Loads of people from London coming as well.
yeah, southeast, Bexley Heath and,
Yeah.
and Canterbury and Tunbridge Wells. So we only about 27% of our clientele is actually from Maidstone. And the rest are
25%.
That's good.
That's good though, isn't it? Yeah.
probably.
New talent every week.
So it's kind of it comes in from everywhere else. So where in East Sussex are you?
A little place called Heathfield.
I know
You didn't know
Heathfield.
Heathfield,
Yeah,
yeah,
wow,
little village,
wow.
We've
What are
got-
you doing there? What do
We've
you do?
got me and my dad own a takeaway there.
All right,
Family
brilliant.
run business.
Fantastic.
So
Turkish?
yeah. No, fish and chips actually.
Is it? The Turks
Yeah.
always got into that, didn't they? The
Yeah.
Greeks and
We
the
somehow
Turks.
just get into hospitality.
The Greeks and the Turks got into that, yeah, big time when they came over in the 50s and the 60s.
Strange, isn't it? We either cut hair or
Yeah.
sell food.
That's what I'm saying.
But no disrespect, man, no disrespect. And down south here, because I was brought up in Scarborough, you have got bad fish and chips fucking going on down here in the south.
You come to ours and I'll change your mind. on
Are
it.
you doing it with beef dripping?
Beef dripping? No, we don't do
Oh,
beef
you see,
dripping.
that's the so up north.
Yeah.
When you go for fish and chips in Scotland and up north, they do it with beef dripping. And that's kind of like the only way to really do your batter. It's incredible. So you use oil down here for health reasons. And so, your fish and chips down here is minging, guys.
I'll change your mind.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I'm really sorry.
Next time we're down, we'll bring a takeaway down.
Oh,
Yeah, it might be
fish
a
and
bit cold,
chips.
but-
What a great meal, though.
It's nice,
But
isn't it?
expensive now.
Oh, I don't even want to start on that.
It's really. I know you're paying a lot of money for the fish and
fish,
stuff like
oil,
that.
gas,
Costs has gone up.
electricity.
I get it. You know, we went to somewhere that will remain anonymous here, and for two of us, for the fish and chips and a cup of tea and bread, it's 54 quid.
What?
It's a lot of money, yeah. It's a lot
a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. Good fish and chips. All right, fish and chips.
So, Ciaran, coming
Sorry.
to the kind of, I'd say, the back end of the pod. Any plans on retiring? Like, I know you're going to take a back seat, but retiring, or you always have a foot
well,
in?
I don't think I can. I'd love to be able to just kind of like do it. I don't think I'd ever get rid of this because I wouldn't know what to do.
We'd have to come in and help you take over. we couldn't let you get rid of
there
this
we
place.
go. I'd be a terrible house husband. But yeah, so I'll always have my things. I mean, the thing for us, me and my wife will be moving to back to London soon. I think we've been here a long time, 30 years. And I've devoted 30 years of my life, 35 years of my life to this place. So I need a little bit of
New time now, innit?
me time and family time and all that kind of thing. So yeah, we'll go back to London, but Maidstone will always kind of like play a part in what we do. This business will always play a part in what we do, and so semi-retire, I think, is probably a better kind of like word for doing, you know.
Now that you've got to this point now, Ciaran, I suppose maybe a last point at this point in your life, looking back, and I suppose the youngsters today, right, everyone wants to get rich quick and people want to take shortcuts and what have you. What advice now would you give to youngsters, especially, well, I suppose both sexes, men and women, coming up in the game, wanting to make something of themselves? What advice would you give to them to basically keep going?
Well, I mean, that you just said it. You just said it. Keep going. I mean, you know, if you looked at me here. I had bailiffs at the door. I told you about opening MooMoos, and my phone's just gone, and my mum's credit card. I'm paying the last little things and that, and even 2 or 3 years into that, I had bailiffs knocking at the door, and and then everybody thinks, oh God, yeah, he's loaded. They don't know the real story about what's going on. You guys from the catering industry will know what of a struggle it is. But you just have to go, and you've just got to believe in yourself. Go and see somebody. Go and if you're negative, if you're a negative person and you don't believe in yourself, and I am genuinely a negative person, I am. It's just the way that I am.
You haven't come across that.
No, I know, but that isn't that kind of like a dangerous thing as well? You know, I come across as really being confident, and people see my
Every time we
confidence,
meet you, do you know what I mean?
and I am so insecure. I get really nervous, and I'm kind of like my own worst critic. I'm just a negative person. I try to be positive, and I always try and do those things. But if you can be positive, and if you're not, go and see somebody to try and make you positive. You can do whatever you want. You literally can do whatever you want. One of my friends, he was an actor, and he's now in America doing really well. He started at 48.
Wow.
At 48.
Yeah, Harrison Ford made his first movie at 42, wasn't it?
Something like that. But, so he's had this burning dream to do it. But he was a tax inspector in Leeds. And fucked off to New York and got into... And he's he's in Los Angeles now, and he's having a great life, and he's enjoying himself, and he's doing everything. You can do whatever, ever.
Never too late.
It's never, ever too late, man. And if you're not in that headspace, go and see somebody who will get you in that headspace, and just think positively about what you're going to do, and just be the best in whatever it is that you're going to do, and you'll get repaid. You'll get repaid, and that's the best advice that I can give you.
Amazing.
Definitely. I always say no risk, no story.
Yeah,
And I always go by it.
Yeah. Yeah, and make each day count if you can. Again, there's lots of boring cliches, but every day of your life is a chapter in a book that you're writing yourself, and you are writing it yourself because you're the author.
Yeah,
you decide what happens to you on that day of what you achieve or what you do, and if it is negative, make the next day a positive page. because you can do it.
Yeah.
You can really, really, really do it, and that's what people have to do. Here's me giving you all advice.
No, I think that's.
That's
I
good.
think that
Yeah,
is
it's wicked,
the
yeah.
greatest way to end the pod
Yeah,
as well,
I
with
agree.
advice like that.
Yeah, man.
And Kieran, once again, from
Yeah,
all
you're
of
a
us,
legend.
thank you so much for
Appreciate your time.
having us here,
Yeah, man.
letting us use your venue, and especially your time tonight as well.
Yeah, well done.
And
Thanks, man.
thanks a
Thanks
lot.
a lot.
Appreciate
And
it.
good luck.
Peace. Until the
See you
next one.
time.
Boom shakalak.
Something went terribly wrong for the club.
It's one of the darkest places that I've been to. When you've worked 28, 30 years and you literally see it burn down in front of you, and then suddenly you've lost everything.
You must have been in such a dark place.
Horrific, and then you've got everybody laughing at you in town. Insurance job. Yeah, so it was a really, really dark place. But
The people around you, did you see like a change in character in people? Like, did you realise who's real and who's not?
the only time you should ever look down on anyone is when you're helping them up. Well, I got a really big help up.
Your story just then is a prime example that you can come back from probably anything. And
If you've got a roof over your head and you believe in yourself, you're going to do something. If this